very like, I think everyone's like this, but I'm like my biggest critic and problem and barrier in anything in my life. And so if I'm not tackling that on every avenue that I can, my life doesn't get better. So, I really take it like if anything, like I think we all can beat ourselves up a whole lot, but if anything, I give myself like a big pat on the back because I'm constantly trying to keep my self-awareness alive, keep like my character defects, if you will, constantly working on them and just doing a lot of self-reflection.
Yeah.
Because the human existence can be very exhausting.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bench press?
I do bench press. What's my most?
Yeah, what's your max?
135?
No, gosh, maybe like 115, 120. It's
still
been a
pretty
minute
good.
since I've done like a 1 rep max on bench press, but yeah.
What's your max squat?
I knew you were going to ask me that. I'm actually really bad on squat. The most I've ever squatted is 155.
Oh,
So that's not it's not bad, but it's not. For as much as I work out, I'd like to get better at it.
Like 225?
I'd like to hit 200s one day. That's going to be like a project for me for sure. I've got limited ankle mobility, so it just affects my squat a lot. So
I don't squat.
you don't squat.
No.
Why
We
not?
can tell.
Fuck you.
I'm just kidding.
Why don't you squat?
I don't know. That's a lie. I do the squats in the machine though.
That's
With my
not
shoulders in it, but I don't.
That's
So you
not
do like the Smith machine.
Yeah, I
He
do the
does
Smith machine. Yeah.
Are you just afraid of doing it by
I'm just
yourself?
afraid of doing it. That and bending over and lifting.
deadlifts. She deadlifts
I don't
too.
Oh, I like deadlift.
I don't
Yeah.
deadlift.
What do you
either.
deadlift? I bet you can do 225 on a
No,
deadlift.
215. We'll get to
215?
225 soon, hopefully. But yeah. I like deadlifts. They're really good for posterior chain health.
I agree, but if you walk into any athletic department for any gym with athletes, they're not doing deadlifts.
Yes, they are.
Football
they are.
players.
Yeah, they are now. Yeah,
Yeah, they are.
for sure they are.
Yeah. So I
All
mean,
of
you're
them.
gonna bench, squat, and deadlift are the main.
That's all you
Really?
need. That's actually all you need
yeah,
to do.
Yeah,
I thought they
they're-
weren't deadlifting, but they're not doing something. Or maybe I got the wrong name.
Yeah, they're definitely deadlifting these
Right.
days.
for overall health of your body and
Yeah,
just
really.
strength.
Deadlift.
Yeah.
Okay, you know what? I'm going to start.
Let me ask you a question. How do you feel about the triangle deadlift bar versus the straight bar?
You mean like hex bar?
The hex bar, yeah.
I don't like it as much. I haven't done a lot of work on it though. I usually do a main deadlift.
Right.
Yeah. What about you?
I like the hex bar.
Do you? Why?
Yeah. It doesn't, because the other one hurts my knees.
Interesting. Okay.
And this one I'm able to get more on my heel.
Heels. Yeah.
Yeah, and my arms are to the side. I feel like the only thing I feel like is I'm cheating a little bit.
Yeah. Okay.
It's not the real deal.
I mean, you're still like using all.
Oh,
the
it's the
muscles
same. It's
necessary.
the same form.
Yeah.
It's just that you can do a tiny bit more. So I kind of feel like you're cheating. I don't know.
No, that's like because when you do, like, I used to train with someone and he would sometimes have me do like really heavy deads with grips or like lifting straps. And I thought that I'd be cheating, but he was like, no, like it's making it able for you to use the proper muscles instead of giving away. Like with my grip's really not that great. So if I
Right.
use lifting straps with certain things, like I can lift heavier and my muscles are actually getting what they need.
Right.
So just reframe it, you know?
No, I like that. and
Use
it's true.
Should use some CBT.
Yeah. CBT
Yeah,
techniques right
CBT
there, right?
tech.
Yeah.
Or is that DBT? I don't know which one it
Nah,
is.
CBT.
It's CB. Yeah.
DBT's grounding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So hey,
Yeah.
Michelangelo, are we live? Yeah, we've been live.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. This is it.
This is
We
okay.
we just talk crap.
Awesome.
You know.
Mm-hmm.
We
Happy
talk.
to be here.
Yeah, great. Glad you came.
How long sober you got?
11 years.
Oh, wow. Good for
11 years and like 3 months ish.
you. Wow.
Yeah.
So you got sober when you were what, 16, 15?
Haha. Thank you, Shane. 23.
Wow. You look great.
Thank you.
Yeah. Sobriety really agrees with you.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'd like to think so too. I think most people that get sober young look younger. I think that just comes with it. You're not putting really shitty stuff into your body
Not
anymore.
everybody.
I mean, if you smoke, still goes
Yeah,
against
right.
you. Yeah, the smoking kind of hits it hard.
Do you
but
smoke? You don't smoke?
Not often. Try to work an honest program. I probably haven't. Yeah, every so often I have a cigarette here and there, but I don't like.
Do you vape?
No.
No?
I used to smoke cigarettes all the time.
Yeah.
And then when the vape came around, I tried to vape, but I would lose it like every other day. And that'd be like an extra $100 out of my pocket. And I was like, I'm just going to cold turkey this thing. Man.
Yeah, just like the expensive vape too with the tank and all
Yes,
that.
yeah,
Not
those
like
are
the
like
new ones the little ones that those things are so fucking addictive.
I never
new
got
ones?
into it, and I'm thankful I didn't.
Yeah.
It's just I don't have like a craving for it, so
Yeah.
I'm good. When I just it's either like when I'm super stressed out or highly anxious, I'm like, man, I want a cigarette, or it's like my way to party now. Like if I'm doing something fun or like at the casino, I'm like, I want a cigarette.
That's my way to party.
That's
now.
my way to party.
That's nice. That's cool.
Like let's get crazy.
Right.
Yeah.
That's your crazy.
Get
That's
crazy,
my
smoke a
crazy now,
cigarette.
man.
You have like
at a concert.
like a cappuccino with that cigarette.
I
or
actually
like
try not to have coffee past like 3 o'clock
Wow,
because
good
then
for
I don't
you.
sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I try not to have it past like 6 a.m.
Yeah.
Oh no.
I did the other night.
Did you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
7 o'clock. We were at this event,
warned
Magic House. And my tongue, I burnt my tongue. It's still burnt.
Yeah.
This was like Sunday night. We're now on
Yeah.
Wednesday.
Yeah.
My tongue still hurts.
Yeah, that's the
They
worst.
handed me like a coffee that was like really hot.
Yeah. No
As soon as
cream.
it had a powder creamer.
Powdered. Yeah, I like
Yeah,
powdered cream.
that's the worst.
Yeah,
Powder creamer.
I typically use French vanilla
French
creamer.
vanilla, yeah, man.
That's the standard.
Liquid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good.
You know they carnation
Yeah.
products are outlawed in many countries because of the chemicals. that are in
Really?
them. Yeah.
Because they're so.
yeah, I'm not surprised. Yeah. There's a
It
lot of
lasts forever.
products that are outlawed in other countries that America allows.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
That's sad.
I just been like.
That's
reading
why
about some
60%
this
of
stuff.
America is overweight.
Is it?
It's just standard.
Or
What about-
sick.
Or sick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we
Something
could
bad's going on.
COVID.
COVID's done and they
Did you
introduced fentanyl.
hear about that?
Yeah.
What do you do? What do you do nowadays to stay sober?
What do I do nowadays to stay sober? I'm still very plugged into the 12-step community. So I have a Tuesday night meeting I go to that's at my sponsor's house. I try to be there every Tuesday.
Who's your sponsor?
Can I plug her? Jody Sonner.
Yeah.
Jody S. No anonymity.
Yeah.
Jody S.
Yeah.
So
She's that's your sponsor?
Yeah.
Damn, she's amazing.
She is. She's pretty much been she's like a second mom to me. I've had her for Robin L was my sponsor for a decent amount of time, and then we were working together. So I was like, oh shoot, I should probably get a sponsor that's not my boss. And so I asked Jody probably 5 or 6 years ago, and she's been a savior to me. So
Nice.
she's really she knows. And I just, for my participation, I work like NA. She knows the NA literature in and out. And so she like holds your feet to the fire on that. But she's also like a super big safe haven for me to be able to talk about anything. And her family is literally like my second family. So go over there on holidays. I was over there on this Sunday for Easter, go over there just for birthdays and whatnot. And I'll call her whenever I need to and just be like, hey, like I need to come over like right now. And she's a very beautiful human being.
Yeah.
So I still work with her often. I still do step work to this day. I wanted to say something too. I listened to the podcast with Frank on it.
Yeah.
And I just want to plug Frank like super hardcore. Frank was my therapist. Sidebar, I went to Hope by the Sea. That's part of my sobriety journey. I worked with Frank as my therapist when he was a therapist here just for patients. And I worked with him twice a week for the time I was here and then through intensive outpatient. And like his work also changed my life. So I still do a combination of like what he taught me like on my own. I do 12-step, which means I have a community. I have a sponsor that holds me accountable. I have a sponsee right now. I ebb and flow on whether or not I have a lot of sponsees or none at all, just depending. I think that's like God's timing personally, what he feels I need to work on. So right now I have one sponsee and she's been pretty great. So that's pretty really cool. But I also do a lot of like Frank's. I do like the writing on Frank's work, and then I still do therapy. So I have a therapist I see twice a month.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh wow, twice a month. Mm-hmm. That's really good, especially in the line of work you're in.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I have to. I'm a very like, I think everyone's like this, but I'm like my biggest critic and problem and barrier in anything in my life. And so if I'm not tackling that on every avenue that I can, my life doesn't get better. So, I really take it like if anything, like I think we all can beat ourselves up a whole lot, but if anything, I give myself like a big pat on the back because I'm constantly trying to keep my self-awareness alive, keep like my character defects, if you will, constantly working on them and just doing a lot of self-reflection.
Yeah.
Because the human existence can be very exhausting.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah.
I go through phases where I'm like, God, I got to get up tomorrow.
Totally.
I got to wake up tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I mean, and I say this stuff in my mind, but I'm very disciplined and I'm getting up tomorrow. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to the gym probably, and I'm doing these things, but, I actually wanted to go back and say thanks for plugging Hope by the Sea.
Shout out. I plug you guys out all the time.
I mean, I think that's awesome that, there's like success stories come out of, this work that we all do. Mm-hmm. And it's like, that's actually what keeps me getting out of bed when I don't want to.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're actually one of the lucky ones because Frank doesn't do the same stuff anymore.
Well, he just does groups, right?
He just does groups.
He just groups.
Yeah.
So,
but still, everybody like he does like a lot of groups, like six 3-hour groups a week. It's quite a bit.
Yeah.
Anyways, it's still though. Everybody says they get so much out of his group. I think it's such a good piece to have Frank's work, and then on top of that, have your 12-step work. Mm-hmm. Like if you really want to get successful in recovery and in your own personal journey in recovery and live a peaceful life, is that what we said the other day? A peaceful life.
Yeah.
You got to do the inside work.
Yeah, it's super pivotal. I see for me, and so like we all, like I work in treatment, obviously you guys work in treatment. And so you work with patients or clients, whatever you want to call them, on a daily basis. And like, I think my biggest struggle is sometimes like I have those days too, like, man, I don't want to do anything tomorrow. I don't want to keep doing what I'm doing. I just want to just like, not wake up in like I don't want to be here type of way. Just like, I don't want to have any responsibilities. You know what I mean? And like, and sometimes like you're working with patients and you're just like, how come it worked for me and how come it doesn't work for some people? Or right then and there, right? Or like we've lost people and it's super sad. And I always tell myself this, like, I'm not God and I'm not anything different than any other human being on this planet. But what I can tell you is like when I see people who aren't like willing to do the internal work and just like kind of will like either like tango with the 12 steps or like show up to a therapy session and just talk about like, hey, like today, like I felt this, but like never go any deeper. You can tell that eventually that internal turmoil that they're not addressing usually bites them in the ass like way down the line.
Yeah.
And some people get through it and some people don't. And that's where the tragedy happens.
I mean, I can be a living testament to that because as you know me, you've seen me around. I had a lot of years clean and sober.
Yeah.
I hadn't done a lot of internal work. Mm-hmm. And I went out and struggled. I struggled. Mm-hmm. And like, thank God fentanyl wasn't like around, and thank God fentanyl wasn't my drug of choice. And just honestly, it wasn't around. It came shortly after I got clean this last time. Right. But I had to get to where I am today, I had to do a lot of internal work that I continue to do on a daily basis now. Mm-hmm. I finally found a therapist that I could go in and just like be honest with.
Totally. Yeah.
I mean, I had worked all 12 steps. It's not like I wasn't doing the deal.
Yeah.
I had some stuff though.
Yeah.
That really, I really needed to like learn to love Chad.
And that's like the hardest battle.
Right.
That's the hardest battle.
I can love other people and I can like love their struggles, but like there was this guy inside of me that would just be like, you're just such a fake piece of shit.
Yeah. Yeah. I can relate with that too, 110%. I mean, I think like, I always think about this the other day too. I was like, I'm so grateful that like, first of all, I got sober where like my insurance didn't cover anything. So I'm so grateful that I didn't have an insurance, like, cause let's just be honest, like the climate we have today of people seeking treatment, like their insurance cards are like credit cards, right? Like, and like that, I think that makes it a lot harder for people to take it seriously. But I also like, I didn't have fentanyl back in the day either. And who fucking knows what would have happened to me if I found that. Right. So like, I can like totally relate with that 110%. And like, I don't know. I really like when I was like, okay, I'm coming on Chad's podcast. Like, I don't know what we're going to talk about, but we're all going to talk about my recovery or whatever. And I just wanted to be like super authentic as I like possibly could. So I appreciate like you like talking about like your experience. Cause I think that's like the biggest ingredient to someone getting like recovery, and not even just recovery in like general, just like living a life that they're proud of, or at least they can feel purposeful in,
Right.
is like getting honest and being authentic and what that looks like for them. Right. Because like I haven't gotten loaded in my recovery, but I've done some dumb shit.
Right.
Right. And like you've seen me walk through some of that too.
Right.
And for me, it was because I literally could not like fathom who I was internally. And it took me a long time. And it took me a lot of work. It took me a lot of like, just sticking to what people told me was going to happen if I did the work, right? Because a lot of it is on faith, to figure out that there's a lot of these internal trauma, pain, whatever you want to call it, right? It was just, I couldn't look at myself in the mirror authentically.
Yeah.
And it took what it took to kind of get me there. And some days I'm not there still.
Right.
Right. So I don't think anyone usually is wholeheartedly every single day.
No one is.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
Not a normal person,
Yeah.
not an addict. Everyone struggles.
Right.
You wake up sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. I wake up anxious most days, but
Similar. Yeah.
I can relate to
Yeah,
anxious.
totally.
I'm an anxious
Yeah.
person. Man.
Yeah.
I like thrive on anxiety,
Yeah.
man. It's like it's anxiety and stress.
Yeah.
yeah. No, I hear
You
you.
put me at like stress level 12, and like I'm like
You're on fire.
fucking killing them.
Right? I know.
I am. It just like wakes me up. It's like a shot of coffee
Yeah.
or espresso.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh, okay, I got to figure this out because I'm not gonna let the world fall apart around me.
Yeah.
Which is just, I have to be honest though, that's not reality.
No.
Because like that's putting Chad back in charge, and the truth is God's in charge, and he's actually driving Chad's bus now. And I'll tell you, but for me, all the work I did, the biggest change for me was really finding that relationship with God.
Yeah.
Like I had to do a lot of work though to be able to open myself up to just really rely on God. And I'm very routine. I've always been a really, really routine person, but my routine stopped at the physical, I think, for so many years. It was like the gym, or, as long as I had the gym and I was successful, then I was, in my mind, I was okay, but I really wasn't, and then you've been around long enough to, you saw some shit. You worked here while I was in the middle of a fucking nightmare.
True that, man.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And on top of that, my family would go insane.
Yeah.
Trying to save my life. It was just crazy.
Yeah. I mean, like, I think that's like the beauty of it though, right? Like, I mean, like your relationship with God. And I mean, I think now that we're like touching base on it is like, I think that like, if you get anything out of the 12 steps, like that's what you should go for. Right. And I don't think people like, I'm not going to say who, cause like also too, I was like a big part of my story. There's some people that are a huge part of my story and my recovery. And I just want to respect, like, obviously their anonymity and whatnot. But, I have some family members that have, struggled with it, and they've gotten sober recently, and that's been such a beautiful process to watch on the other side. But recently we were like having a conversation, and they're like, yeah, like I've been sober for 9 months, and I got to like the 4th step, and like I just don't see why I need it anymore. And I don't remember where I was hearing that. I don't know where exactly I was hearing this, but maybe it was at a meeting. It was probably at a meeting. And someone spoke like, hey, like I'm not in the business of like promotion by any means with the 12 steps. And that's what it says, right? Like I'm not here to promote anything. I'm just here to be like an attraction for you. And so I was talking to this person, and I was like, if anything, it's going to give you something to fall back on when you're not feeling great, right? Because like right now you're feeling great. You're feeling good. You're on top of the world. You've done this, you've done that. Like why do I need to keep doing this, right?
Yeah.
And the reality of it is like, for me, the 12 steps like created this new perception of the way I live my life, to where like shitty things happen, there will always be bad things, bad circumstances. And I don't like to think of bad people, but just people who have lost their way is the way I like to look at it. And it's going to affect you, and you're going to have to lean on something that's going to get you through that. Otherwise, like, you're like, I don't know how I can live with that anymore, or live without that anymore. And I still have to remind myself of that. I still get very fear-based in times, but I'm able to, like, when the rubber meets the road, I'm able to, like, fall back on that action.
And what's cool is as you get further down the road, like where you are now, so kind of what you're talking about is faith, right? You have to have this, like, faith when you're in that space. And I will go back to the 4th step thing, but you have to have, you're in that, you have this track record now of
totally,
of wins.
Yeah.
And proof that as long as I rely on God and my program, that everything's going to be okay. And it's easier to be like, yeah, everything is going to be okay, because it's actually been okay for 11 years, 3 months for you now. Like, it's been okay.
It's totally, I mean, and I was talking about this with someone, because I can still, like, just because I have 11 years and just because I do like 12 steps still, I still can get batshit fucking crazy. We all, you know what I mean? Like, totally can. And so I have to be held accountable. I have to be reminded of those things. And I was talking with my sponsor about something that's literally, like, I don't know. I think that I gravitate towards, like, finding the worst case scenario, because I feel like I have some control over it if I do that. Right? Like, okay, if it goes this route, then I'm going to do plan A and B and C to execute. And she's like, dude, like, I mean, she doesn't say dude, I say dude, but she's like, you need to, like, chill and, like, look back at, like, the past 11 years and how your life has panned out. And, like, what makes you think anything's going, like, bad is going to happen. And I look back and, like, I realized, like, sometimes I don't want to say that bad things happen, uncomfortable situations happen. But through that uncomfortability, usually there's a huge, beautiful silver lining, and it's far better than I could even imagine. Right. And I just have to remind myself of that. And also, like, remind myself, like, I am not in the driver's seat a lot of the time. And I think trying to bring myself to a humble, like, graceful perception of that, my life goes so much smoother, you know? And, like, because I can do things for love and acceptance. I can do things for money. I can do things for ego and all of that stuff. And if I do, like, that, my track record also shows that gets me in a lot of trouble. So I have to be very wary of that.
Right. Yeah. That's so funny.
Yeah, just add God.
Yeah, just
to everything.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
We add God. That's what we do around here. But what's funny is I stayed sober, clean. I'm an NA person by nature. By heart. Was my program of choice for many, many years. So we do say clean, right?
Yeah.
But I stayed clean for 8 years, 11 months, doing steps 1, 2, and 3. And I didn't do the 4th step, not because I was afraid of the 4th step, but because I was afraid of the 5th step.
From telling someone about it.
Yeah. So I was afraid to even write shit down, because then that meant that I had to go do the next step.
Sure. So
I didn't do it, and I got loaded because one day I became powerless again. It was like, I'll tell you my story how I originally relapsed.
Yeah, please.
So Hope by the Sea was probably like 7 years old, something like that. Okay. I had done pretty well. Facebook was kind of brand new.
Yeah.
People were starting to follow me on Facebook, and the intervention show was huge.
Yep.
And I had been on it 3 times.
Okay.
And my old friends from my old stomping grounds from where I grew up started seeing me on the TV show.
Yeah. And
they started hitting me up on Facebook. And then one day my best friend from that era hit me up, and I was like, what are you doing? And he sent me his phone number, and I called him. I was driving down the 5 freeway, and I called him, and he said, I was like, what are you doing? And he's like, oh, I'm about to go into this chick's house and sell her some shit and blah, blah, blah. And, like, I was this fucking responsible person, right? I had a wife. Mm-hmm. I had a business. I had 4 fucking children. 4. Mm-hmm. 2 in, like, high school, or 1 in high school and 1 in junior high, one in elementary, and Cooper.
Yeah.
That was my life. And he was going to do that. And I was like, man, that sounds so, like, fun.
I'm laughing because, like, that's how baffling the brain is.
I
Like,
know.
that's how baffling,
It doesn't
like,
sound fun to me at all right now. I'm
no,
sorry. Not at all.
Not at all.
I don't
I was
feel it.
like,
But-
man, I've got to pay bills tomorrow. I got to do all this and that. And I didn't pay the bills. Kelly paid the bills
Yeah,
back then.
yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I still don't pay the bills. Donna pays the bills.
Yeah.
And I will tell you, I hung up the phone and I was like, there's no way I'm fucking going and doing that though.
Mm.
2 weeks later, I was heading up to a convention and I said, shit, maybe I could just like do it, get loaded one time and nobody will know. So I called him up. I said, what are you doing? And then this is what I said next. I said, because I just told you, right? I was going to get loaded one time.
Mm-hmm.
I said, can you get me a 1/4 ounce of meth? I just want to get loaded one time. Like, people don't understand, right? Like
man.
for an addict, a 1/4 ounce of meth for one time, that's one time. Not like one snort, but like one run.
Yeah.
One run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how long did that run last?
Like 5 years. I mean, out, in and out. I couldn't get it together.
Yeah.
I really couldn't. It was rough.
Mm-hmm.
But the run, that particular run lasted 3 days, and by day 2, I was in Las Vegas. I wasn't even where I was supposed to be. I was at the MGM Grand, stuck in a peephole, and all I could hear is Ken Seeley and my family and Cindy outside of my room getting ready to do an intervention on me.
Wow.
So the whole time I was looking through the peephole.
Oh, that sucks. That just sucks.
Is that like a good time? Does that sound like a good
It
time?
sounds horrible. I mean, it's funny hearing about it, but it sounds horrible.
In my mind, what was going to happen is I was going to go to Vegas. I was going to be drinking and doing
having
all
a
this
good
stuff.
old time.
Yeah, that's not what happened. No. And then I struggled.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
when was that? When did you get clean again after that?
That went on for about like 7 months after that. And then I got clean for 2 years. And then I went back out. And then I got clean for a year. And I went back out. Got clean for, I think, 18 months. Went back out.
Wow.
Got in a lot of trouble. Yeah. And at the end of the day, though, the very end was like, I was so psychotic. I didn't show up to like a court date because I had told the judge through telepathy that I wasn't going to be able to make it, and he accepted that.
It's like not funny, but it's kind of funny. Like, but that's how like crazy people, like that's how sick people get, right?
Yeah. And about 10 hours later, about 9 o'clock at night, a big 6'5" guy come smashing through my door and took me away.
Oh shoot. Okay.
Yeah.
So they hired someone to come and get you.
It was a bail agent.
Oh, okay. Oh, you were on bail. Got it.
Yeah.
And then did you go to treatment again after that?
I went to, yes, I did. I went, but I wasn't a good detoxer, right? So I got to detox at 550 North Flower Street in Santa Ana.
Okay.
It's a 24-hour lockdown facility.
Okay.
Can't get out.
Yeah.
So I finally got detoxed. It wasn't insane. I went to Casa Recovery.
Okay.
For 3 months.
Okay.
And the judge finally said, all right, you can't stay at Casa, but I'm going to send you to this really crappy treatment center for 365 days. And I said, oh, that sucks. But I went anyways.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know all that.
It was life-changing.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was it called?
Nancy Clark.
Where's it at?
Like Costa
Mesa.
Mesa.
Yeah. Okay. I think I've heard of it.
Yeah.
And you did all 3?
I don't mean to like a bad shout out towards her.
No.
It fucking saved my life.
Yeah, totally.
It wasn't like, luxury
It's just not
recovery.
Yeah, it's just not luxury. You're not going to live in a mansion in Newport Coast.
Yeah.
Or
right?
townhouses. It wasn't that bad.
No, it was nice. It was like an apartment.
Yeah.
It's what's cool about it is most treatment centers in California, right, are 6-bed treatment centers.
Right.
This place was grandfathered in the 90s, and it had like
100 beds or whatever.
no, like 40. It was
Altogether.
a whole apartment complex,
Yeah.
like right on the outskirts, right where Costa Mesa and Huntington Beach meet. But I don't think there was one counselor there that was certified.
But I bet you they were had their heart in it.
Oh
though.
yeah, it was all just 12-step based. We ended up having a guy on that actually was a group facilitator there. He's a nurse, BSN.
Yeah, he is.
So he was here a couple weeks ago.
Cool.
His podcast will come out.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So do you feel like in that program it was able to give you what you needed?
I found the therapist that I needed.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's rad. Okay.
I always wanted to have a female therapist, and I feel like at the end of the day I was manipulating female therapists. And she forced me into a male therapist who I stayed with for like 3 years. And he knows everything about me.
Wow.
And it was way deeper than I could get with the 12 steps.
Yeah.
And it's been amazing. You know?
Yeah.
And even if I ever feel squirrely, I'll call him up and
Yeah.
I'll go. I went like 6 months ago.
Nice.
I was like, let's go.
Yeah.
Go back to get some shit done.
Well, very cool, Chad. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, like.
That's the short version.
Yeah.
Because I'm not on the podcast. I'm not the guest of the podcast.
I know. I ask a lot of questions too. Sorry.
Although one day I'm going to sit in that seat.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And, let somebody podcast me.
I mean, you got a cool story.
Yeah,
Look at what everything you've created.
Yeah. I've just never given up.
Yeah.
Like I've never given up hope. And when I say that, I don't mean like hope. I've really, truly never gave up hope. I always felt that there was, there's times when I felt completely hopeless. Like when I was insane and I thought I was working for the CIA, like I didn't know if I was going to come out of this one.
Yeah.
Like it was, I was like,
Are you like aware you're in it when that happens?
I mean, kind of. So,
Okay.
so like the difference between like a meth-induced psychosis, I think, and I don't know this to be fact because I'm not really psychotic, but I for whatever reason, I go super psychotic. I think part of it is because I do a lot and then I don't sleep and I don't eat and I don't drink water.
Yeah.
So, and I stay up for like 14, 15
Yeah, your
days.
brain's like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah. So there is always a sense that what's happening isn't reality. I always have this like little piece. I'm like, maybe this isn't real, but it seems real,
Yeah. Okay, so you kind of have a little bit of a pulse on reality.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you
Robin's seen me like that. She like
sure
came
she
over
has.
to my house one time and was like trying to talk me into, I don't know what she was doing. Trying to talk me to go to rehab probably.
And you're like,
I was like, yeah, but the cops are out there.
she just took 17 years.
I saw that on Facebook.
Yeah, you should get her on here too. She has
That's happening.
Yeah,
it's
okay, you
coming.
got
So,
her. Okay.
so when Robin sees this, she needs to know that I'm coming for
Yeah,
her.
she's got a cool story.
I wanted to give her a little bit of time because she just had a baby,
She's grinding. She's fine.
She's grinding?
Yeah, she's back and she's doing her thing.
Okay.
She's good to go.
Yeah.
She's going to call me and be like, what the fuck? No, I'm just
I feel like she would want to do this. She's kind of a ham.
Yeah, she would, I'm sure, would be more than happy to do it.
I was at one of the first, probably the first NA meeting that she ever walked into.
Really?
Yeah. At least close to that. I saw her come in.
That's funny because she was literally at one of the first NA meetings that I ever walked into.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The women's meeting.
I think she was only like 17 years old.
I think she got clean pretty young. Yeah, like 17. And then
I think she came in once and then left and then came back. I don't know. I'll have to ask her. I can't remember. She knows the story.
Yeah, it's her story.
It's her story.
It's her story.
It's her story to tell.
Yeah. It's a cool, like, I love like pumping Robin out though, because she's got like such a cool story. She got clean when she was young and she's been through some stuff being clean.
Yeah.
So she's a really good representation of what happens when you just do the program.
Yeah.
And walk through some shit.
We were all in the same home group for a long time. The 5 and Dime.
Yeah, man. That was a great meeting.
Is that meeting gone?
So the sad part about NA in general since COVID is a lot of meetings are dark.
Oh.
So like 5 and Dime is dark. There's not really a Monday night meeting unless you want to drive up to Lake Forest.
Yeah.
We got Tuesday crosstalk still. We got the beach meeting, Thursday women's meeting. But like even like the Friday and Saturday night meetings, like no one really goes to them anymore.
Really?
Yeah.
Like so there's no TGIF because that was like
there is,
shit.
but it's small and it's there. They need more support, and
Right.
so like
where are people going?
People since COVID, meetings have been made accessible via Zoom, so people don't feel the need to go out and be with people. I don't do well in Zoom. That's not my get down. I don't even like having Zoom meetings for work if I can like handle it.
Yeah.
I think first and foremost, just anyone recovery in general, but just human experience in general, like being in the space of other people, energetics is a big thing. So I don't get how people do Zoom.
You can't truly get somebody's energy through a screen.
You
can
ask
get
certain
something.
people and they disagree, but I agree with you. But yes, so I think Zoom halted that. I also think that a lot of people who got clean during COVID, they didn't experience what we got to experience when we first got clean, right? Like the recovery community was booming. We had meetings around the clock. We had activities every weekend. We had conventions everyone was going to. COVID hit, that all stopped. People got clean, and now that generation of people who are in recovery, like it's great for them. They did something really hard, but like that's not what they're used to. So like giving back to the newcomers, not as like prevalent as it used to be. Right. So
Sad.
It is.
Kinda
It is.
sad, yeah.
It is. And so we've all talked about it. And like, I mean, I have to hold myself accountable, right? Like I probably should be a little bit more accountable to the newcomer and be out there a lot more and like just trying to reach my hand out. But like also too, like I don't see a lot of newcomers at meetings anymore. I don't know where they're going, but treatment centers, I mean, maybe you can speak to this more so too. They're not going to meetings as much anymore.
So a lot of treatment centers stopped going to outside 12-step meetings because of body brokering.
Yeah,
People were stealing
pre-COVID, yeah.
even.
Wow, I didn't
well, then
know- I didn't know
COVID, but yeah, so that like kind of started pre-COVID, right?
Yeah.
And then COVID.
Yeah.
I mean, we were locked down in California.
Yep.
And if you were a treatment center, we couldn't even bring them to the center. We had to do everything telehealth.
Yeah.
They could all stay at the house, but we couldn't bring like
Someone
60 people into this facility and do it how we normally do it.
Yeah.
So that caused a lot of problems. We actually are taking them to meetings, a minimum of once a week now, currently.
Okay.
And that was even hard to get them going. See, and I guess that's the thing. It was hard to get them to start going back to them.
Agreed. There's a lot of clients like don't want to go to them anymore. And it just, how do I say this? I think, like I said, the type of person that seeks recovery nowadays is completely different than when like you and I sought recovery, right? Or like when you sought recovery, and it's not like, I don't feel as if people think it's as life as death as it is.
It's fucking worse.
I know.
And that's
but
the
people
crazy
don't take
part.
it that way. And so it's sad, and we're always going to like recover, like 12 steps in general, AA, NA, whatever you work, like it's going to thrive. It's always going to be there. I just think we're going through a certain type of experience through our generation right now that it's just we're not winning the war right now.
Well, I'll tell you what, the guy that we just had on before you, they do this cool ass meeting every Sunday night. It's called the Magic House. It's not, it's just recovery based, but everybody that's involved in it is 12-step recovering people.
Okay.
They've just made it like really fucking fun.
Yeah.
It's not like a boring 12-step meeting. Not to say, I mean, some of the meetings that I used to go to, like the TGIF, that was not
great.
boring.
Yeah, everyone looked forward to that meeting.
It was a lot. I mean, but they could pump, nowadays, this meeting is that on steroids.
Really?
They pumped it up. People come, they sing. Everybody's like, woo. It's not anonymous.
Okay.
So everybody's social media. So if you're going to this meeting,
like prepare to
not be anonymous.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's not a place you go if you don't want to be put on social media.
Okay.
But that's what's kind of cool about it, and it's attracting the younger crowd. Did you see how I really?
Yeah, I did.
I realized I was like
did.
moving away from the
You
microphone.
just took the mic with you, though.
Hello, is the camera on me right now?
Yeah, it is.
Do I look like an idiot? No? Okay. You know when a good time to drink water is?
When
I'm talking.
Okay.
Because probably when I'm talking, the camera's on me.
you. Okay. Good.
He like sits there and switches them,
Yeah.
right? That's Michelangelo.
I figure that he'll just edit out whatever.
No.
No, we don't know.
Oh, okay.
It's
Right on.
it's unedited.
That's cool.
I might have. I think I'm gonna have him just do a beep sound over Jody's last name.
Yeah, please do that. I think I stopped saying it, right? Damn.
Like
She won't care. Other people might get pissed, but she won't care.
it was pretty much her whole last name.
Damn it. I called her too, and I was like, "Hey, I just don't want to violate any traditions."
What did she say?
She was like, "Oh, you're I didn't. Honestly, my thought process was like, oh, he's gonna ask me about my story and how I stay clean or sober, or whatever." And I was like, "Can I talk about NA, all that stuff?" And she's like, "Yeah, that's fine." I didn't think you'd ask me my sponsor's name, so I was just like, "Oh yeah, blah, 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 blah."
I just knew who your sponsor was.
Yeah.
That's the only reason I asked, because I knew who your sponsor was. I know that she has the meeting. I know Cindy's her sponsor.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah, Cindy's in my group.
Yeah.
Or my sponsorship family.
Cindy was so excited that I talked about her the other day on Pete's. Did you watch? You gotta watch.
No, I gotta watch Pete's.
Okay, you know Pete.
Pete's.
You gotta watch.
Yeah, I
Pete's.
love Pete.
I was like, holy shit, Pete! I didn't know all this shit.
I haven't heard his whole story. So cool thing about Pete and Cindy is Pete was the first person I met here. He was managing the detox house, and
Oh shit! That long
it was
ago?
that long ago. He was managing the detox house way back in the day, and Pete was he made me feel very comfortable. And I'm the same old story, right? I'm only going to rehab to get the judge off my back. Flatline, right? And then I get here and I'm like, I'm only staying 20 days. Then 20 days turns into 30. And then, so pivot over to Cindy. Cindy was my case manager back in the day.
Oh, wow.
So I have the old school foundation of Hope by the Sea. Maybe that's why I'm still clean.
Yeah,
I don't
that
know.
might be.
I had
the
Cindy
deal.
and Frank as my team, man.
Yeah.
So
Cindy, Frank, and Pete as your freaking detox house man. Back then too, Pete lived in the house,
yes.
right?
Oh yeah.
Detox text. And that's part of the problem too. It's too fluffy for these guys now.
100%.
Oh,
It's way too easy.
I'm just gonna work a little 8-hour shift, and I want. People are gonna watch this. I'm not gonna talk shit, but I'm just saying that because I will. I'm gonna be honest because this is the Hopeaholics. This isn't Chad, the CEO of fucking Infinity Group. But the God's honest truth is, man, when I came in and I started at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that. I don't know if people know that, but I was a driver. And then at the treatment center I went through, man, that driver was the very bottom. And then you worked your way up into a live-in house manager.
Yeah.
And you didn't have any days off.
Yeah.
You lived in the house. You drove the clients from the house to the center. Mm-hmm. You would be on all day. Mm-hmm. You would take the clients that were going to the doctor's office. Mm-hmm. Well, the other clients were at group. Your house was empty. Mm-hmm. Then you would come back. You would drop those people off. You would pick up the rest of your house. This is 5 o'clock. Then you'd take them home.
Make them dinner.
Yep. You would do meds. You also had people detoxing in the same house sometimes.
Yeah.
And there was no Suboxone when I started as a house manager. So we were detoxing people off of opiates with Thorazine and
painful
Clonidine and Klonopin, and that was the cocktail.
Yeah.
They'd be knocking on the bedroom door at 2 o'clock in the morning. I need some meds, and you'd be like, sleeping fuck. I get up and get them some meds.
Yeah.
And that was the deal. Mm-hmm. It wasn't fluffy.
No, I know. Yeah.
And I don't mean any disrespect to this generation of people coming in, but we made $800 a month plus room and board.
Right.
That was it.
Right.
And you worked all 5 days. and then you had a floater that would come in and work 2 days, but you could work the other 2 days if you wanted to. They would kind of go around a room and be like, "Hey, who wants to work?"
But
I always, because you got an extra $75 for that day.
Yeah.
And I had a car payment, and I had a 1-year-old daughter.
Yeah.
You know, so I hustled.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's not that like, and here's the thing. I've learned enough throughout my years that like, I'm like wired like you, like I can work until I die, but that's not always beneficial, right? So there's a good balance for it. But
Right.
I think that, yeah, this generation, like they have, and I think that's just the world around us right now. They have no concept of what like hard work and like dedication looks like. And a lot of them think everything should just be given to them.
Yeah, no, you got to earn it.
Yeah.
I can tell you, I watch people as an employer.
Sure.
And the harder you work and the less you complain, the more opportunities you have.
For sure. Yeah.
That's just a fact in life.
Yeah.
You know, like I would go and let's say on the day that I drove the clients and there was nobody to take to the doctor, I would go around to the front and I'd be like, "What do you guys want me to do? You want me to sweep something up? Do you want me to do this? What do you want me to do? I'll do anything." And guess what? In like within 18 months, I was running that facility.
Yeah.
18 months.
Mm-hmm. Damn.
Because they fired the people above me.
Yeah.
And I was like, "I'll do it."
Yeah. Right.
And they already knew me. They were like, "Let's give it to Chad."
Well, and I would imagine too, some of the roles that you took, you had no idea what you
I had, Jesus Christ, the only thing I learned is what not to do.
Yeah, that's what I was. Yeah. I think that's a big thing though too. I think a lot of people are afraid of taking that leap because they're like, well, I don't know, or I'm not adequate or whatever. And like most people that are successful have no fucking idea what they're doing in the next step. They're just taking it.
No, they don't. You have to not be afraid. You have to be able to face your fears.
Yeah.
And take that leap of faith. You know, the other thing I see people doing is like jumping from one job to the next job to the next job. And it's like, that doesn't teach you anything. Right. It doesn't teach you loyalty. Right. Like one of the best assets somebody can have is loyalty. Like I feel like even in, I could go back to basketball, right? Because Kobe Bryant was loyal to the Lakers. He never left. He played his whole career there. And his last like 5 years sucked because they couldn't get anybody to, they had screwed things up so bad. They didn't have enough payroll to get the right players in to help him. But then you got guys like LeBron James who have like jumped from team to team to team. And I don't think that's loyal. Right. Right. Just chasing a championship.
Well, and yes, so I agree with that. But at the same time, like, once again, I've learned another huge lesson. I think it's very imperative to be loyal to the people that are going to benefit and grow you.
It's so many of these. It's so many of these places, these little tiny treatment centers, these small ones. Yeah, they're like, "Oh yeah, we can pay you a lot more." Well, that's where you got to check your motives. They don't have as good of benefits as you get over here. I don't know why I'm talking about this, but it just slipped out.
No, you're totally.
It's kind of annoying to me. It's annoying to me when people, don't take this job seriously because we're about saving people's lives. Right. And you might be able to go over to this little one for a little while, but what's their stability?
What's their stability? What's their growth? Like, what can they offer you in potential for growth? I think that like a lot of people too don't take into consideration all that stuff when they're making really big life decisions. Right. Right. Like, okay, like they're offering you a huge monetary jump. That's great and all, but what is 2 to 3 years down the road look like for you? What are you giving up at this current place that 2 years down the road you'll be mad that you gave up, right? Yeah. So I think logical reasoning is missing from a lot of people sometimes. So I mean, like, I think the climate we're in, I think the location that we're in, as much as I love it here, it kind of goes against us every so often. Right. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day though, like and I'm no business owner, right? But I probably wouldn't want someone who's going to make decisions based solely on money. Right. Because that never ends up well for anybody.
Right. Ever.
So I learned that.
We all did.
A long time ago. And yeah, right? Like, yeah. Well, you either do or you don't, right? So
you suffer.
Yeah, totally.
Forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it weeds them out for you at least.
It does weed them out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I do have a lot of great staff. And I know that my great staff, they know who they are.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
They know who they are. I will tell you that the clinical team that we have right now, phenomenal.
Yeah.
Best I've ever had.
I would expect nothing less.
Yeah. It was all because of one good hire.
Really? And then they recruited everybody?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's going out on maternity leave today, though.
6 months.
6 months.
6
Yeah, bro.
months.
This is in Canada.
How long
Yeah,
is it here?
This is in Canada, eh?
How long is it here?
Bro, that's a long time.
2 months. 2 months
Yeah,
here.
it's literally maybe 3 months.
I think it's 3 months.
It's
and then
3
you
months.
can get 6 months. You can do 3 months, and then you can do another 3 months.
Yeah.
For the female.
Yeah. Wow.
Have you
Canada's
heard of
got 6 months.
paternity leave?
Yeah, I didn't.
They
take
have
it.
that in Canada.
I don't do that.
They have that here.
I know.
Okay. Okay. I was like,
No, but Canada, it's like a year or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seriously?
It's a good time.
Yeah.
It's,
It's a good time. Just have kids, stay at home. Government will pay you.
Wow.
Socialism.
you know, he's Canadian, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to
I
make
heard
sure.
about it. I heard the accent like a minute about or however he says.
about.
Yeah.
What else do you say?
Oat.
Out. Yeah, yeah, out.
Oat.
Yeah. Tomato.
That's normal.
That's
Is that
that's
okay?
normal. That's
I thought you
normal.
were going to say tomato.
No, we don't.
Fucker.
We don't say tomato.
Do you say flag?
Flag.
Bag.
Bag.
Okay, he says it does. People say that I kind of have a weird
Bag.
accent.
Where are you from?
I'm
I
from
forgot.
Washington State, so close to
Close to
Canada.
Yeah, really close.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
So-
how far up Washington State?
Tacoma, so probably like a 2-3 hour drive
Yeah.
from Canada.
Hmm.
Yeah, really close to Seattle. So I say, everyone makes fun of me because I say flag.
Flag.
No, you do not say that.
Bag.
You-
I
you-
meant to say flag.
Bag.
We're not editing.
Can we beep that one out
Yeah.
too? Sorry, I slipped.
Okay.
Oh,
That's fine.
shoot.
We're not in a rush.
Okay.
Oh no, because we still. What time is it right now? Just the actual time. 1:08.
No, wait. 11 years sober. Kids?
No kids.
Married?
Nope, single.
Single? Okay.
I have a pup. His name's Monty. He's the love of my life.
And when did you find God? Do you remember when you found God? Or were you always...
That's a good question. You know, when I speak at meetings, this is what I always say. I always had a really tumultuous relationship with God before I got here, because my dad died at 19, and that was what spurred a huge part of my drug addiction. He suddenly died, and he was gone within a week. And I was really angry for a very long time.
Yeah, of course.
So I always thought of like, why is God punishing me? Why would he do this to me? You know, my life just went into shambles after that. And then I got out here, and all I can tell you is the moment that I literally, and I shit you not, this is how I felt. The moment I got off the plane is when I felt I could breathe.
Wow.
And so I look back on that experience for me, and I felt like that was my first experience with God, and everything from then on just being, you know, within Hope by the Sea, being in the 12-step community, being with a community of people that was, and this, I'm going to pump Cindy real quick, right? She was my case manager. She met me within, like, after I went through detox and was done, like, throwing up or whatever. I met with her, and we had a session, and I was very cold and, like, very, like, people just wouldn't approach me because I was, like, an angry little kid. Even Frank said that. He was like, you were very cold.
You sounded just like him.
I'm good at it, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen him for a while. But I went and I sat on Cindy's couch, and she just looked at me, and she just had to give me one look, started downpouring tears, and she hugged me for 10 minutes straight. And all she did was hug me for 10 minutes and just let me cry. And so I think that's when my spiritual experience started. And then we'll pump you guys one more time. They gave me a scholarship after 30 days because I couldn't go home to my mom and back home. It was just not good for me. And like from then on, it was just God shot after God shot. So I totally think that this is what this is how I perceive God, right? Like God's always there for me, and God will always be there to support me and help me in my endeavors and want nothing. This is my perception. God, higher power, universe, whatever it is, wants me to be in my authentic alignment as best I can for what my sole purpose on this planet is to do. And so I am always able to access that light. It's just whether or not I want to turn my back or not.
On it or not, right?
Yeah.
And what is that purpose?
You know, right now, my purpose is to be here on this podcast, right?
Yeah.
Right now, my purpose is just to stay clean and talk and be in recovery and be the best human being I can today. I don't know what that's going to look like tomorrow. I don't know what that's going to look like a year from now. And I think a big part of my purpose is to never really figure that out.
The journey.
Yeah, it's the journey. I know it's into some capacity to help people. I know it's in some capacity to be like, I'm really good at listening to people. I'm really good at like helping guide. I've learned that throughout the years. I think that's why I've had to go through so many struggles, especially in recovery. But I think more is going to be revealed, and it always will be. Right. So
did you notice there's a common theme with our guests? Like they may not use the exact same words.
Yeah.
But it's always the same
God thing.
Flow. The whole your purpose is to help people.
Well, yeah, I think everyone on this planet is meant to have some sort of purpose that connects and helps human beings as an existence. And I think society has covered that with dirt and programming. And, there's also a part of human existence that's greedy and selfish. And I think that's been fed for way too long. But I think our whole component of being on this planet is for God to create us in a selfless, like humble capacity. And so I think everyone's capable of that. I just think that people have to choose to want to access that.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
Yeah.
Because you're right. If you're humble and you have no ego, that is the capacity to help someone.
Right. Yeah.
But if you're not humble and you're full of ego, you're not really feeling people.
No, you're miserable.
You're miserable.
You're miserable. Yeah. And people will try to deny that, and they'll cover it up with, whatever the material aspect of this world will offer. Yeah. But
there's so many like what do they call them on Instagram, influencers?
Yeah.
And the only thing that I see that they're offering, like guys, the guy ones, is like money, cars, gym, muscles.
Yeah.
Like
gym muscles. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, and I'm like, who follows these guys? And how do they coach all these people that they say they coach? Because what is it that they're doing? How are they making society better? That's kind of the purpose, though, of like this podcast, the Hopeaholics. Mm-hmm. We have a mission, and it's fentanyl. It's a war on fentanyl, is what it is.
Nice.
And when I say that, fentanyl is the crisis right now, but it's a war on drugs in general, on addiction, on mental health issues. And it's also about bringing awareness, getting rid of the stigma of addiction and mental health, restoring the reputation of treatment centers.
Yeah.
Because that got so tainted.
For sure. For sure.
And it wasn't all bad. It's just that there was a lot of bad players doing it,
Sure.
abusing the system, like abusing the system. Right. And then our reputations really got tainted. The whole industry. I mean, it's okay to go to treatment. Like that's some of the conversations that, we have to start having, like on the, in a public forum, like, hey, it's okay to go to treatment. And this is what treatment's like. And it's not easy. And it's not all, what you're sold sometimes at the beginning. It's not massages.
Yeah.
It's not fucking location.
Yeah.
It's not the beach.
Yeah.
Because you can have all of that. You can change your geographic area. You can move to the most beautiful place in the world and not do any work. And that place is going to turn into the same ugly, miserable place that you were already in.
Totally. I agree.
Because you're bringing yourself, right?
I think people don't realize is like, well, number one, I think that like because of all of the things that happened however long ago that tainted our industry, it created like, just like it does in every industry, right? There's really good players and there's not so great players. Like even in religion, there's really like authentic, truly spiritual people, and there's not that use it to their benefit. It's going to happen in every single aspect of life, right? But I think it's created this like perception of treatment centers where like, oh, they're just going to go and get a bed and breakfast and whatnot. And it's like, no, like treatment is, if I could have gotten clean or sober through just the recovery community, I would have. I think everyone who didn't go to rehab would have. And some people can't. That didn't work for me. I needed to be in a place that literally watched me 24 hours a day, right?
Yeah.
Number two, able to give me the therapy that I needed, that I didn't know I needed, right? But also just to be around human beings that were going through everything that similar to what I was going through, I think that was the most monumentous thing I could have experienced.
Yeah. Sorry.
No, you're
somebody out there waving at me. It was really bad before though, because I'm ADHD. I don't know if I'm ADHD. I feel like more ADD. I don't feel like I'm like hyperactive unless you give me an energy drink or something.
Yeah.
I'd be bouncing off the walls, but we didn't have this backdrop up and just people walking by.
Oh yeah.
And I'd be like,
yeah. I bet. Yeah.
it's really hard for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we heard what you're saying. So the camaraderie,
Yes. Community.
the community.
Community. Yeah.
Yeah.
You need community.
Oh yeah. That's like, well, and that's what, do you ever, this is what I think too. I think there's a lot of people out there who do not like that they're anti 12 step or they're anti whatever, you know, and I always come from the standpoint whenever I'm talking to someone like, hey, I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm just here to tell you what history has shown is proven to work for people. And the main like it's 12 steps obviously, but the main component, like I have a friend too who like literally has 8 years clean, and this person's like, I don't need the program anymore. I'm doing well. Like I don't see the point of that. And I was like, it is the scariest thing in my mind ever to be however long clean and go through a divorce, go through a death, lose my dog. That's obviously going to happen, but it's a really big fear of mine. And not have a community to walk me through that.
Right.
Like that's, and I think too, like when we're in addiction, our biggest problem is that we feel so alone. We feel so detached from society or family members or just even ourselves that dark place like has to be taken over by something that feels completely anti that.
Yeah.
So I think like for me, that was, you know, you get your best belly laughs in rehab, man. Like I had some of the best times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I like sometimes wondered, there was a time where I wondered, do I like rehab so much? That's why I kept going back.
Maybe. I mean, sometimes I think about it. I'm like, man, like I wish I could just check myself in again for a little
And
while.
just like chill.
Yeah.
Just fucking chill for a while.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. I get so sad for the patient or the client that comes in and they're full of anxiety. And they want to go and they just want to run, you know, and they're like, this isn't what I thought it was going to be, or this place is this or that. Or somebody lied to me, and maybe they did. And I hope that doesn't happen. But sometimes people say stupid stuff to get people into treatment.
Sure.
But my point is that I get sad because so many people leave 5 minutes before the miracle happens.
Yeah.
5 minutes before that anxiety goes away.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
5 minutes before all of a sudden you feel comfortable somewhere. And I've been that guy. You have no idea how many times I was taken to rehab and beat the people home who took me to rehab.
Stop. Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
One time, I'll tell a story. I'll tell this story. Bobby, you know Bobby.
Yeah, I know Bobby. I know Bobby.
Bobby drove me all the way up to Bayside Marin.
Shout out Bayside Marin.
Yeah. He drove me all the way up to drove.
Yeah. Oh, that's like an 8-hour drive.
Yeah, with a psychotic, crazy, meth-induced psychosis guy. You know,
Yeah.
thinking the radio was talking to him. You know, I don't know what Bobby dealt with, but he drove me all the way up there. I got there. It was kind of late at night. They gave me some meds. I went to bed. Woke up in the morning. Had a nice breakfast. They have a really nice like kitchen area.
Mm-hmm. They do.
And I was like, man, I don't want to do this. I don't want to get clean, man. Fuck this.
I feel like
and it was a beautiful. I had a nice private room.
Yeah, I'm
it
sure
was,
you
it was
did. Yeah.
fucking, you know, high end luxury, ocean.
That's nice. Yeah.
Ocean view. You know, like,
overlooking the San Francisco
yeah,
Bridge.
Like my comforter was like down feather. Everything was perfect.
Yeah.
Where that's where you would want to go, right? But I couldn't stay.
Any normal person.
Yeah.
So Bobby drove me up there.
Yeah.
But that's not what Chad needed.
And so Bobby was driving home. I
And you flew home.
I had been there for like 4 hours, and I left. I jumped in a cab. I went straight to the airport, got on a plane, and I landed in Orange County before Bobby pulled in.
What did he say when he saw
was
you?
pissed.
Yeah, I bet. I bet he was.
He's like, I just fucking wasted 24 hours of my life getting you up there. Yeah.
But was that anxiety or was that just you being like, I'm not done yet?
I wasn't done yet.
Yeah.
It had nothing. But it was also anxiety. I don't detox well.
Okay.
It was fear.
Yeah.
I would, and this will be me getting really honest. But like I would have a real fear that Kelly was going to leave me at the time. Right.
Yeah.
When I was in detox.
Yeah.
So that was anxiety. I had a lot of anxiety because I was in a meth-induced psychosis all the time.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what happened.
Okay.
And so I would leave.
Wow.
I would bone out. I thought if I was just there, she wouldn't leave.
And then you'd get home and she'd be like, okay, I'm going to leave if you don't go back to rehab.
Exactly.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you figured it out.
Yeah, me too. Life is good. I can't complain.
How much time do you have now?
7 years on the 6-9.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. That right on. Okay.
Yeah.
7 years. That's a good amount of time. What's the most you had is 8?
9.
8 years, 10 months, 11 months. 8 years, 10 months, 23 days. I don't know if that was exactly
Okay.
it, but it's like something
so
similar
9
to
will be really cool for you.
Yeah.
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 Very cool, man. Yeah.
They that day I was rescued, man, and I was like taken from, my balcony of my insanity, and I was done. Like I was done. I was beat up and broken.
I mean, it takes what it takes, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I don't know. I think that I think my small little human brain will never be able to comprehend like what it means for everyone's journey and why things happen and the way they go about, right? But
yeah, and the whole purpose of this is, it's fucked up. Like, we all know people that have died recently from fentanyl, and it's like I'm not gonna stop.
yeah.
This is my mission, to be a voice for those people that died and their families and enforce change. And that means awesome. Whatever that means. I don't know what it means. That's God's plan after that.
Right.
But I know some of it means forcing policy changes. Some of it means, insurance companies doing different stuff because this 14 days of RTC or less is just insanity.
Right.
Hello.
It's
Come on.
So sad.
Right.
I was in inpatient for 60 days.
Yeah.
Like if you would have given me any less than that, who fucking knows, right? So
people should be inpatient for 60 days.
I know.
At least.
Yeah.
Maybe 90.
90 would be like best.
Yeah.
But even like, I don't know, sometimes you have people like, oh, I just need to detox. I know what to do after I detox. And
there's
all right.
There's a couple people here and there that actually make it from that.
Yeah.
But it's like one in like,
right. It's
one
like
in 100.
It's the odd factor out. Like
Yeah.
it's not normal for people to like do that. But
Yeah.
it's definitely an epidemic, and I think it's rad that you're doing stuff like this. Like I think the more people that speak on it and like are talking openly about it, like I think it will change. Just like anything that's in a positive light or helps people, eventually those always come full circle.
Well, and things have to change, bro. Because the people dying out, just like you always say, aren't the addict and alcoholic.
Well, that's the biggest issue right now.
They're the guy using the one pill. They're not used to this anonymity stuff.
Yeah.
It's not their gig.
Yeah. I know, it's so sad though.
Yeah.
It's so sad.
It's really sad. It's like, it's actually the number one cause of death for people 14 to 28, something like that.
Stop.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So it's not just addicts dying. That's the sad
it's
part.
just a curious teenager who's okay, like the guy who I have a crush on is telling me to go into the bathroom locker and take this. Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
God.
Those guys are dying.
That makes me so upset.
Yeah, see, and we get upset, and that's the type of people though that when I say that, I don't know anybody that doesn't get upset about that and isn't gonna join this movement. This is a movement that the Hopeaholics is. We're not the first ones to start it, but we've joined it.
Right.
And and we in the way I see it, just so you know, because I said it I say this often, but for us, it's like people aren't standing behind us; they're standing beside us, like in a 12-step meeting, and we're gonna circle around, and there's probably at least 20 million clean addicts and alcoholics in the United States, and then you add all the families, you're talking 50, 60 million people that, you know, if we're standing all together, people are going to listen.
Yeah, 100%.
You know,
We're just gonna.
I just don't know that anybody has built a big enough platform yet, and that's actually my goal, is to build a big enough platform. So
you'll do it.
I know. I'm
Yeah,
insane.
yeah, you'll do it. Chad will do it. Yeah.
So,
That's
anyways,
super
thanks
cool.
for coming. Your story's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks, guys.
Thanks
Thanks
a
for
lot.
having me.
Appreciate
It's
it.
an honor to be a part of this.
Yeah.
And just come back to my old stomping grounds for a little bit.
Yeah. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks.
All right.
That's it.
Cool.
That's a wrap, right?
Pictures.
Oh yeah.
What? Oh.
She does that now.
Ooh. Okay. Cool, guys.
Great.